Hey guys, this is Jay Calder with JAYONBOXING here giving you a preview and prediction for Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois. But before we get started, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and be sure to leave your picks, your takes down in the comments section below. I do greatly appreciate it. And a little bit of fight info here. As mentioned, we have Dubois taking on Anthony Joshua. This will be at Wembley Stadium in London, England, airing on DAZN in the heavyweight division with Dubois' IBF heavyweight title on the line. And just a bit of a heads up here, I am coming down with some kind of sickness, probably just a cold. I feel fine, but I do sound absolutely terrible. So if you notice that, that's why it's there. Probably should see a doctor or something, but I probably won't. Anyway, on to the fight. So here we have the second biggest heavyweight fight near the end of the year. And honestly, it's not a bad one. While only a portion of the gold is on the line for Dubois and Joshua, it feels like a lot more than just the belt is at stake. For Dubois, it's certainly credibility as a champion. Yes, he won vacant gold, but that was against another contender in Filip Ergovic. Other than that fight, Dubois has fallen short in his biggest matchups. For Joshua, it's history. He wants to be a three-time heavyweight champion, but it's also his future in some ways. Losing to Dubois could mean the decline for Joshua. No disrespect intended, but that's just the truth. So a lot on the line for sure. Definitely keeps it interesting, but before I break down the fight, let's get into some of the biggest questions surrounding the showdown. First thing I would ask is who hits harder / who takes a better punch? And to me, the most fascinating aspects of this fight is that both fighters hit harder than the bill at a steakhouse, yet both have shown previous vulnerability to shots themselves. In other words, they throw fire, but have been burned in the past. Joshua has been dropped hard in cases, and even stopped a ways back by Mexican bodybuilder Andy Ruiz. As for Dubois, he has been dropped by jabs, or just seems to break down in fights and ultimately doesn't hold up to the pressure. In the end, with these two, it's likely about who gets there with the big shot first and most consistently. That guy likely stops his opponent. I would also ask, has Dubois shaken off the mental lapses? Around 2003, with a loss to Corey Sanders, you would have thought Vladimir Klitschko was done. He was stopped in 2 rounds in that fight and had every bit of confidence knocked out of him in the following years. However, with a build-up or a rebuild with the late, great Emanuel Stewart, he wound up being a Hall of Fame fighter. Is that Dubois? Perhaps not, but still, has he made the right moves and the right changes to get his confidence back and press forward the right way since some of his own professional setbacks? Having a few decent wins in the gold certainly can help. Still, this will be the first fight in a while where he is the clear underdog against a proven fighter, and you have to wonder how he's going to perform. Remains to be seen how well he can cope. And finally, is Joshua getting caught at the wrong time? Recently there has been a bit of a resurgence for Joshua. Yes, he lost twice in title bouts with Alexander Usyk, but who doesn't lose to Usyk, Now he's on a 4-fight win streak and stopped his last 2 opponents. That said, they weren't exactly world beaters that he beat. Not boxing world beaters anyway, and you expect him to be able to stop Otto Wallin and Francis Ngannou. Facing a younger, hard-hitting Dubois, that seems on track finally, it's a little bit different. At 34, almost 35 years of age, Joshua has been around. Dubois is in his physical prime. Joshua has been at the top, but Dubois is trending up, and that can be dangerous. Could this be the exact moment Joshua shows his age and Dubois shows his worth? It's tough to say, of course, but certainly something to keep in mind. All that said, let's get into this pick and break this fight down. Starting off with the champion here, for Dubois, you want to land the overhand right. Joshua has the reach on you, so you have to keep that in mind, but if you are able to step in and land that right over the top, it makes a lot of sense as you're closing ground, but still with something more meaningful. If you're able to step in with confidence and maybe tag him a little bit early, that also might push Joshua back, and that shot might be there more available to you and have more of an effect. Now, this, of course, can be set up with feints or jabs, nothing too crazy, just subtle movements here or there to kind of help set it up. Typical stuff, but just throw it with conviction. Of course, you have to be mindful of not overcommitting or leaving yourself too open. That can happen as well, especially with those bigger shots, but if you can time it well, it definitely can be successful. So land the overhand right, and Joshua might be in some real trouble, especially if you can find that sweet spot where you're pushing him back and throwing it at just the right trajectory. I would also say get in close. And as I mentioned there, Joshua has the reach, so your best bet is going to at least try to break down some of that ground between you. In general, your best work is done inside anyway. You're not a boxer trying to move and get on the outside and circle away. You're trying to get inside. So especially when someone has the reach on you, that's a pretty good idea. Of course, head movement will work when you're trying to get inside. You're not necessarily Mike Tyson in there, but if you can at least duck and dip and change levels here and there, it might allow a better entryway. Another key might be landing something early on Joshua to make him not so eager to come in himself. If you can make him more hesitant, that frees up some of that real estate in front of you. So throw that right hand over the top and it will potentially help close the range as well and give you a better chance of getting inside and having some success. And finally, don't forget your defense. As mentioned, this can't just be an offensive bout for you. You have to use that head movement. You have to use jabs and feints that can be defensive moves in their own right, especially at the top level. You don't want to be timid. You don't want to overthink things, but you just have to be aware of not everything being all you. You can't overcommit too much. Keep that chin tucked. It's simple stuff, but things that you have to do at this level. When you throw, don't lower your guard so much that's still protecting. Don't step over the top of your front foot too much. And another thing is, of course, don't panic if you're tagged. Tie them up or back away and reset. You don't have to get your get back right away. When you're a fighter that doesn't always have the most reliable chin, that can't be in your arsenal. You have to give yourself a moment to rethink. Get the big right hand going, getting close, and make sure to keep your eyes on both sides of the road defensively. Now, switching over to the challenger, for Joshua, you want to keep the right quick. You have enough pop in general naturally in your shots. You don't need to force it. Speed will do that for you. Don't worry about trying to load up. You're faster than Dubois, so it makes the power matter less if you can get there first and more consistently. If he's unable to hit you, then it makes his power matter very, very little when compared to the speed that you're operating with. That speed will make him hesitate and give you the edge as you then push forward and try to land some of those more telling blows. It pushes him back and allows you to get full extension on your punches, which again, you do have the edge and reach. So use that speed and that reach, of course, as well to make that right hand nice and quick, right down the middle, give him hesitation, and then exploit that. I would also say push Dubois backwards. This is going to be key. You need long, hard, fast, straight shots that will get there for you. That sentence sounded like it was going somewhere else. Anyway, Dubois just can't fight backing up as well. He's too plodding. He doesn't have enough technical ability, so you want to exploit that. He's also just easier to hit backing away. His defense is much more wide open, and because it's not rushing in at you, you can take more of a shot and then decide where you want to place your punches. You have the faster feet, and that gives you the edge anyway, especially when he's moving in a way that he doesn't want to, which is backwards. It's going to freeze him up and potentially make him seize up in those moments. Like Shannon Sharp on Instagram, he's going to panic and not know what to do. Use that fast shot down the middle to press him back and keep that edge as you go forward, and then start letting go of some of your more heavy artillery. And finally, put your shots together. And I think this all ties into what I've said here. Yes, you want to keep those shots quick and down the middle. Yes, you want to push them back. But once you do that, you want to make sure that you're putting your combinations together. You throw decent combos when you decide to throw them. Naturally, throw them. When inside, or closer at least, and you have him pushed back, you can add that uppercut or that left hook around the guard. You especially throw those two shots really well while still keeping pretty good defensive posturing. So certainly something to look for. You can even catch him as he's trying to throw, trying to answer back. Again, that's a great time to try and force a mistake out of him and catch him in those moments. And that sort of pressure might make him revert back to his old self, where he panics a bit more, maybe folds under that pressure, and gives you the best chance to capitalize. Now, in terms of my pick here, while any heavyweight with decent pop has a chance, I do see the favorite in Joshua taking this fight relatively comfortable. He said, jinxing AJ. I think Joshua starts strong and maybe even hurts Dubois with the right hand in the first or second round. That makes Dubois think more and hesitate, and Joshua works through the gears, taking advantage of it. A series of hard shots drops Dubois again, and the fight is halted soon thereafter as he is simply unable to defend himself or fight back effectively. Winner, Anthony Joshua via mid-fight stoppage. And in terms of the betting odds here, we do have Dubois coming in as an underdog at a plus 360, with Joshua coming in at a minus 550. The over-under here is set at 7.5, with the over and under coming in at minus 115. Now, Joshua is a no, in my opinion, obviously. Dubois has decent odds, and you could certainly convince yourself with the value, but he's just too shaky for a confident bet. If you do it, it's one of those ones where you lay it and pray it. You lay that bet down and you pray it somehow comes through, but you're not necessarily depending on it for sure. The money I have in this case is going to be on the under for me. Can even buy more value if you go with the 6.5 as the underline. You get a plus 130 there, but that's where I'd be looking at it if I was placing a bet in this fight. In any event, those are your odds. And my prediction record as of this recording is 41-16 with 22 exact, but let me know your thoughts, your bets, your picks, all that good stuff down in the comments. And of course, check out the social media up top, check out JAYONBOXING.com, subscribe, and check out another video here. Until next time.